Hi amigo friends. So we're just at our villa here today, and Jennifer is going to do a short little video of health insurance here in Mexico, the research that she's done, and what we have done for the health insurance. Trying to grow a beard here. Anyway, I'll flip it over to my wife and she'll take it away. Peace out.
Hola amigos. So I did some research into health insurance. We always knew that it was something that we would be looking into when we got here. I didn't expect it to take this long, but then I didn't expect it to be so expensive either. They always talk about how cheap healthcare is in Mexico. So together we'll figure out why that's true and why that's not true. I just want to start out by saying I am not an insurance professional at all. This is my point of view as a consumer. I wouldn't even have an amateurish knowledge of insurance. It's a very complex world, and I'm only going to explain my experience and my knowledge that I gained from looking into it. So yeah, I was kind of shocked at how expensive it could be, because you hear how cheap healthcare is in Mexico. I translated that into health insurance as being cheap. Well, I quickly discovered after my research and getting quotes from 4 different companies that it's expensive. We almost couldn't afford it, and we almost did not get it. And I also want to point out at this point that coming from Canada, that's the only healthcare that I'm familiar with. So there we have the public healthcare, which is either free or subsidized, depending what province you live in. And then that is usually supplemented by private healthcare insurance, and usually through an employer. So I guess I expected private healthcare to include doctor's visits. And though you can get healthcare that includes doctor's visits, it's very expensive. They call it outpatient services here, so that would include doctor's visits or paramedical, that sort of thing. IMSS stands for El Instituto Mexicano del Seguro Social. It provides entitlement to healthcare, medical assistance, social protection, and social services. So once I discovered how expensive insurance was, I had to stop and reassess what we wanted out of health insurance. We were not going to get what I wanted out of it, or expected out of it, I guess. So I asked Daryl, what are you looking at when you want health coverage? And he said he wanted, if there was an accident or an unforeseen health issue, he wanted coverage, which is pretty much what you're getting here in Mexico with the private healthcare plans. So that's what we started looking at, and I got quotes again from 4 different companies. They offer customizable options to add to hospitalization and accidental, basically. These companies ultimately had very similar coverage for similar prices. Of course, there were some differences. Some of those differences were maybe in the sum that was insured. One company offered 10 different plans from 10 different underwriters. But when you boiled it down to similar parts, the quotes came in very similar. Because I know so little about insurance, I tried to extract from those quotes the information that I thought was important to help me make my decision. This info that I extracted included the premium, the sum insured, the deductible, the copay, and the cap on the copay. This now narrowed it down to 5 different plans from 2 different companies. One of those companies was healthitinerary.com. This company was referred to me by a friend in the area, and this company itinerary seems to be local to the Merida area. Now, the friend that referred me did not get health insurance from them. She's not an expat. She was more of a snowbird, though this is the first year. So she already had health insurance in place and did not need more health insurance. But she felt this was a good company because she knew I was looking for health insurance. The second company was Pacific Prime. This is the company that provided me with 10 different plans. And they are a global company. I'm sorry, let's go back to healthitinerary.com for a second. Her first quotes were 3 different plans, and they ranged in price from 36,000 pesos to 45,000 pesos, or 2,217 Canadian to 2,772 Canadian. And then the Pacific Prime, the first 10 quotes range from 36,000 pesos all the way up to 145,000 pesos. That's the one that included outpatient insurance. So again, in Canadian, that's 2,217 all the way up to 8,932 Canadian. Okay, so after discussing my needs a little further with Patty Salas at Health Itinerary is who I dealt with. She sent me 2 new quotes. One was 26,000 pesos and the other was 30,000 pesos, so that's 1,600 Canadian up to 1,847 Canadian. I set up phone calls with both companies to give me the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the insurance coverage that they were offering and go over any questions that I had. I talked to Patty first, and we discussed how the deductible works and copay. As an example, she explained that for each illness, we have to pay the deductible first. Then you take the balance of that times the 10% copay, and you pay that amount. So if you were in the hospital and you had a 120,000 peso bill, you have to pay the 20,000 deductible, 20,000 peso deductible, and then on the remainder of that, or 100,000, you pay 10%, or 10,000 Mexican pesos. So you pay out of pocket a total of 30,000 pesos, and the insurance, or 1,848 Canadian dollars, and the insurance pays 90,000 pesos of that bill, or 5,500 Canadian. It's a good time to mention that if you raise or lower your deductible, that's going to raise or lower your premium. I ended the call with Patty with a promise to review the plans and make a decision. For Pacific Prime, though I did set up a time to talk with the rep there, he never did call me. I am not going to chase after him, and I was completely comfortable dealing with Patty at Health Itinerary. So I reviewed her plans again, the reduced premium ones, and I decided, we still can't afford that. So I said, can you please help me with the public healthcare plan? Now, I don't know a whole lot about the public healthcare plans. I know there's 2. One of them is called INABI or INSABI or MABI, something of that nature. And it's essentially for no or low income citizens, not open to temporary and permanent residents. And then the other public system is called IMSS. I'm sorry, I don't know what these are short for. This one, the IMSS, is for working class Mexican citizens, and the premiums for this healthcare are usually deducted off their paycheck by their employer. Temporary and permanent residents can buy into this plan. The consensus on the public healthcare plans seems to be that they have limited staff, limited resources, limited supplies, and very long wait times. So poorer healthcare than if you were to buy a private healthcare plan, which is, and there is a small percentage of Mexicans and most expats do go with the private healthcare plan for some of those reasons.
And how much is that plan?
It varies by age, and I'll get into that. I didn't go into the whole what age group costs what. Anyways, Patty was very happy to help me with the IMMS plan for a fee of 2,000 pesos. I did not ask her if that was 2,000 pesos per person or 2,000 pesos just to set up both Daryl and I. And she sent me the price list, which is based on age group. I was shocked again at the cost of public health care here in Mexico, as it doesn't provide the best of care. It is almost 20,000 Mexican pesos for the both of us, for our age groups, or 1,231 Canadian.
A year.
A year.
That you pay every year.
Every year. And I'm sure those go up incrementally every year.
And then plus you're paying for your visit on top of it.
No.
No.
In the same email, she gave me another option of raising the deductible to 30,000 Mexican pesos, or 1,847 Canadian, which lowered the premium to 19,000 Mexican pesos, or 1,170 Canadian dollars. This is the option that I ended up choosing. So some points I wanted to add here is there is no deductibles for the IMSS plan, but the care is poorer than with private. You can also visit the doctor without paying extra for this plan, but the wait lists are very long. And again, limited resources, supplies, staff. The deductible is payable per illness with the private plan, but only once per illness. And the deductible is waived in the case of an accident. So if, for example, you got cancer or something, you're going to be paying that deductible, but only once. And if your cancer lasts 5 years, you're only paid that deductible once.
Yeah.
My thought that if we went with the public health plan, because I knew that that they were understaffed and poor health care and long wait lists, I figured we'd just go to a private healthcare doctor and pay out of pocket. This is where cheap healthcare comes in Mexico. So it's relatively cost efficient to pay privately for a doctor visit. So a checkup might be 70 or 80, or even if it's $100 Canadian. You're if you're paying that out of pocket, you're not in a long wait list, and you're getting great health care. So if I was going to be doing that anyways, I thought it would just be best to go with the private health care, because she brought that deductible up and premium down. So if it's going to paying extra for doctors anyways, we'll just go with the higher deductible amount, because essentially Daryl and I are pretty healthy. Knock on wood, God willing, we stay that way. I don't expect to actually be needing these health plans at all, but I don't want to be without either in case something does happen. All the plans that we looked at, all the private healthcare plans that we looked at, included pregnancy and travel. She could not get rid of the pregnancy. She said all plans include it, because there's no way I'm getting pregnant. And I guess maybe that goes away at a certain age, but maybe at my age it's just included and she couldn't get rid of it. The coverage we bought does not include pre-existing conditions. So if there's anything that we're going to the doctor or hospital for, it's not going to be included. I can't really think of any pre-existing conditions that we have. They may find them. They are an insurance company, so I don't know. And then there's also waiting periods for some illnesses. For example, there's a 12-month waiting period for gallbladder diseases, or an 18-month waiting period for knee or hip conditions, or up to 24 months for hernia conditions. This is just a sampling of some of the wait periods. She sent me a long list of the terms and conditions and all the wait periods that go along with it. So this has been my decision-making process. Everyone's health care needs are different, but I do hope that this was somewhat helpful to you when you look into health insurance for yourselves.
That's it. That's all.